Yesterday, one of our pre-market gems listed at over 150x. And ShopX doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. Today, I'm going to show you another token. I'm going to show you a 1000x gem. And I'm going to show you how you can get into that presale and many other presales. Yes, guys, this is not an April Fool's joke. You can get into pre-market sales, especially if you follow the formula that I'm going to show you here today. So, I'm Crypto Man Run, and this is no April Fool's joke. In fact, you want to hear about an April Fool's joke? You know the Banter bags? What I said is going to be the biggest crypto giveaway in the history of the world. Guess the value of the Banter bags today, after just 2 of our tokens have come to market. So remember, the Banter bags is the biggest giveaway in crypto history, because what we did was we are investing $10,000 into pre-market allocations, and those pre-market allocations are starting to come to market now. And as they come to market, we're selling them and we're getting more pre-market allocations. So we think that this giveaway is going to be worth about $2 million. But forget about what we say. Let's look at the proofs in the pudding. Fred, call up the chart of the Banter bags giveaway as we stand today. Okay, so we bought $1,000 worth of unmarshal. That bought us 6,666 tokens. The token price right now is actually much higher than this chart. In fact, Fred, take this sign down and let's show the guys what the real price is. So right now, if you look at unmarshal, unmarshal is trading at $7.76. Okay, so if unmarshal is trading at $7.76, the value of the Banter bags is about $40,000. Freddie, let's get that chart up again. So the value of that Banter bag is about $50,000. Then we had ShopX, and we invested $1,000 into ShopX. We got 28,571 tokens, and those tokens are now trading at about $3.46 or $3.50. So the value of that bag is $100,000. So far, the Banter bags are worth $150,000, and the best is yet to come. In fact, tomorrow, AOS is launching. We've got OCAM, we've got Collateral, and maybe we're going to get another 1000x gem into the Banter bags as soon as after the show today. So the Banter bags is the biggest giveaway in the world. All you need to do is join our channel, like, subscribe, hit the bell button, share this content. Every time you share this content, you get 2 entries into the Banter bags competition. Guys, there really isn't going to be another opportunity for you to get so many of these pre-market listings and to get your hands onto such a big amount of money with such little effort. Like, subscribe, comment, share, join my Twitter, follow Sheldon on Twitter. All those things actually earn you points. We've got a big show for you today. What are we looking at today, Freddie? Okay, so we have a 1000x gem. And no jokes, we really do have a 1000x gem. I think it's going to be huge. But it's not about showing you the 1000x gem or giving you the 1000x gem. I'm actually going to show you how to evaluate the 1000x gems. And then I'm also going to show you how you can get pre-market allocations in these 1000x tokens. Yeah, guys, there is a way for you guys to actually get these pre-market allocations. And then I think we have Coach K. Today's Thursday, right? Thursday it is. So Coach K is here with his 100x gem or his pre-listing gems. So a lot of the show today is actually about new listings, and that's really where the money is today. Later on in the show, we're going to have a lot of fun because I'm going to be test driving one of the Revv cars around the track. We're going to look at probably what is the most exciting NFT game out there at the moment. And we're going to look at the game. The game seems like a lot of fun, but the question is the token actually worth the buy? So the game is a lot of fun. And obviously, you know that all boys love cars and boys have loved cars. And a Formula 1 game is timeless. But the question is whether we should be buying the token. And what we decided to do was actually to get the creators of this token here with us live on the show. So massive show. You want to get involved? Simple. Like, subscribe. Keep smashing those likes. Keep smashing the subscribes. In fact, let's see how we are doing on those likes. Let's see how we're going. There are 3,000 of you watching this live, and there's 1,300 likes. That means that 1,700 of you don't want to enter the Banter bags, don't want to get free money in the Banter bags competition. That sounds absolutely, absolutely, absolutely crazy. Guys, smash the like, smash the subscribe. Let's get this show on the road. So, yeah. Fred, play the video from yesterday where I spoke about alt season. Remember, guys, I said yesterday that alt season had started, and I showed you guys the fundamental data that actually shows that alt season is actually here. Let's take a listen. And that's the second cycle. The first cycle is the mass adoption of Bitcoin, and the second cycle is the altcoin cycle, which I've just showed you fundamentally with data that we are hitting an altcoin cycle. And this is going to be the biggest altcoin cycle of our lives. And I'm not the only one that says. So yeah, yesterday I said to you that actually the data now points to the fact that alt season is actually here. So it's not all about, people going, when alt season, when Lambo. The data is now telling us that alt season is here. What is that data? Well, the first part of the data says that the retail investor is back in the market. In fact, now we know for sure that the retail investors are taking up more of the market or more of the buying on the market than the institutions, which is a huge, huge, huge step. When the retail investors come in, they're not here for Bitcoin. In fact, even if they are here for Bitcoin, they're going to get bored of the returns from Bitcoin and they can go into the alts. What the data is showing us, and this is again, data, fundamentals, I believe that everything that we do on this channel must be backed by the fundamentals. The data shows us that even though on a global scale, the Bitcoin are moving off exchanges. Look at that yellow line. The yellow line shows us that Bitcoins are flowing off exchanges and being put into cold storage. We know that. That makes perfect sense. The reason why we know that is because the institutions are coming in and they're buying large amounts of Bitcoin and they're not going to sell. So the data shows us that Bitcoin are moving off exchanges. But if you are a degen and you want to be using you want to be using exchange to buy altcoins, which exchange are you going to be using? Fred, what exchange are you going to be using? Binance. Of course you're going to be using Binance. And look what's happening on Binance. On Binance, the number of Bitcoin on the exchanges is going up. What does this mean? It means that retail investors like me and you and Fred and Leah and all the guys on the team, all the degens, are putting their Bitcoin on exchanges. And what they want to do is they want to trade their Bitcoin for the 100x and the 1000x alts. And that's a clear sign that fundamentally the alt season is here. But just after I made that announcement, literally just after I made that announcement, it's almost like I caused this. Guess what happened? We had a major, major, major technical breakout. And to talk about the technical breakout, I'm going to bring on Sheldon, the sniper. Sheldon, welcome back, my friend.
How's it going?
Good. So tell us what we saw. Tell us what we saw immediately after our show yesterday.
Awesome. You can see the screen, right?
Great.
Awesome. Cool, guys. So you remember what we've been talking about for a while is basically the 60.50 support level. It's a little bit lower. 60.37 is where I have it marked on this chart. But what happened was we finally collapsed this zone. We've been fighting in this zone from the beginning of Feb, so nearly 2 months. This is why it's been quite a choppy market and it's been quite slow. But the exciting part is we have finally broken that. So you could see all that we were doing, let me make it a little bit bigger for you guys. You can see all that we were basically doing was fighting the zone, waiting to see what direction we're going to move in, and we finally broke support. Now, as you see, as soon as we broke support, look at the acceleration now. Now we're really starting to get the move from the alts, and we're starting to see now that the money is now diversifying from Bitcoin to the alts. And having a look, even if we're looking at the last hour, you can see how all of a sudden the altcoins are starting to pop and they're all starting to go inside. Neo is hitting a 14%. I see Doge has woken up very shortly, but we can see the whole market now is starting to move back into the alts, and we're starting to get these insane gains on a daily basis. And that's because we broke the main support. Now, the exciting part is the next support that we have is basically at the 57.50 region, and that's another 4% away. Now, to excite you guys from the call that from yesterday, the Banter call, was it 4 o'clock? 24 hours ago, we basically have only dropped 1%. Call it 1%. Just about 1% is where we've basically fallen. Now, from this zone, the next support that we have is 4% away. So if we're getting these sort of returns on a 1% drop out of dominance, what's a 4% going to do? Now, what's important to know is 4% is just until that support. Let me go through to the daily for you guys. There we go. Okay, cool. Now, if we have a look at where's the next support after that, this is main support now. If we drop this next level, which is the 57, this is where I see the huge explosion coming from the alts, because that will be basically 13% away from where we are right now. We've just seen what the results do on 1%. What's 13% going to do for the alts? And after that, we have a possible 26% drop in the BTC dominance, which will take it into the low 40s. Remember, last alt season, 2017 run, we dropped all the way down to 35. So it's very possible that we can come back down to the 40 sort of levels. And that is going to be the explosion. So we've already got the first step to know that altcoins for the next week or two, next month, altcoins are going to be going galore. Let's see, we drop that main zone, that main one at 57.50, then we're going to have the alt season we've never seen before. Remember, there's a lot more money in the market this time than what there was that time. So Ran, as much as the fundamentals are there, the technicals are there, and we should be very, very excited.
Sniper, before I let you go, I saw, when we're looking at the crypto bubbles, I saw Pundi X, and I know that's been one of your calls. What is happening on Pundi X? Let's have a look at it, because I saw that one of the bubbles that we had there was Pundi. So let's have a look, and just for those guys who have been following, for those who haven't been following, Sheldon's show is earlier in the day. The link is below in the description of the YouTube. Go and watch Sheldon's show, because that's where he makes all the live calls.
Okay, Pundi, NPS. There we go. Okay, so if we jump in here quickly, what I've said is I did give, remember on Twitter, I do a lot of updates on these trades for you guys. I put a stop loss zone for us, and we've come down. We still buy some support. So Pundi is good for now. I would have a stopper. It's just all on this news on what's basically happening with the coin. So I think the coin is going to pump quite a bit once it has been released and they've reduced the amount. I think it's 1,000 to 1. I think that's going to be a massive game, but for now we're healthy. Until we drop this main trend line support, it's just coming and testing, which is good. So that's fine. So I'm still happy holding Pundi. I just don't want to come back down into this zone over here. So as you can see, guys, there is the stop loss zone just for Pundi for now, because if we do drop that zone, we can just pick it up a bit cheaper. But for now, it's looking really good. And you can see when this coin explodes, it really explodes. So Pundi is still good, right?
You know what? One of my friends texted me last night and said to me that he said, actually all you need is Sheldon, because the fundamentals in a bull market are actually what you call the funny mentals. They don't call them fundamentals, it's funny mentals. He says in a bull market, it's all about momentum, and momentum is all about charts, and Sheldon is your man, and I agree with him. So Sheldon, my friend, the sniper, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow for your show.
Awesome, buddy. Have a good one, guys. Ciao.
Cool, my friend. That's amazing. All right, so guys, we are in alt season, and if we look at what's driving this alt season, it's actually these like pre-market listings. Look at this pre-market listing on ShopX. ShopX has now done, 100x, 150x. Look at Marsh. Marsh also done in the X's, 50, 60, 70x. And so what we're seeing in this alt season is that this alt season is actually being characterized by these huge pre-market listings. And this is where the life-changing money is being made. And as I see the life-changing money being made, I also see a lot of you guys sitting on the sidelines and saying, you know what, well, we can't get into these things. So please tell us about stuff that we can get into. And I kind of want to say to you guys that that's the wrong attitude, because if money is not just going to fall onto your lap. You can't expect the money just to fall onto your lap. You need to work hard for your money. But in order to do that, what you need to do is you need to understand how the business cycle works. And the business cycle is a very easy business cycle. You get bull markets, you get raging bull markets, and you get bear markets. In the bear markets, projects that are looking to raise capital have to beg to raise their capital. We saw that in 2019 and just in early 2020. When we were in the bear market, projects couldn't raise money. No matter what they did, investors wouldn't throw money at them. When the cycle changes to a bull market, the pendulum swings the other way. And what you find is that the projects then have an overcapacity or an oversupply of money being thrown at them, because everybody wants these 100x returns in the bull markets. And so what you get is you get this pendulum swinging from a bear market where projects have to beg for money to the bull market where investors have to beg for allocations. So today what I want to actually do is I want to show you guys two things. One is I want to talk to you guys about how to decide which pre-market gems you actually want to get into. And then I want to show you guys how you, not me, not Fred, not people in the media, but how you guys can actually go about actually getting this money. And let's be clear, it's not free money. Don't expect to just write on the website or go to DuckDAO or to one of these launch pads and to just be given allocations. There's no such thing as free money. But today I'm going to show you what you need to do if you want to get those things. So let's get on with that. Fred, let's put up that big slide about how to get my new 1000x gem. And what I want to show you is I actually want to show you my new 1000x gem. But before I do that, I want to show you 6 questions that I ask every time I evaluate a project. Because remember, guys, you don't want to get into any project. You want to make sure that you get into the right projects. Let me explain to you how it works. Right now, there's a big hype and everyone is investing in projects. And it seems like they're making 100x and 200x, but the majority of the tokens are actually locked up. So they may be making 100x on a very small amount of tokens because this token game is actually a game where you want to limit the supply. And then what happens is over time, the tokens release. So this is quite a long-term game. And in the long term, what you want to be doing is you want to make sure that you can invest in tokens that are going to survive a bear market. So the overarching question that I always ask before I make an investment is, will this token be able to survive a bear market? And the truth is that if it's not able to survive a bear market, sometimes I may invest, but I know that I'm making a very, very high risk investment based on fundamentals. And I can only do that with a very, very, very small part of my portfolio. So let's look at the questions that I ask about every project. And then what I want to do, after I've done that, I want to actually show you a 1000x gem, and then we can make a decision together as to whether indeed it is a 1000x gem. So let's look at the questions. The first question is the token solving a real world problem? And would I actually use it? Because as you know from real world experience, the things that have the highest valuation, Facebook, Uber, Google, Twitter, are the things that we use in our everyday lives. So if this protocol is solving a problem and I would use it, then it gets a thumbs up from me. The next question I ask is, what is the probability that it'll work? Because there are a lot of ideas on paper, but what's the probability that the tech team can actually build what they want to build? The next question I ask is there a plan to get adoption? And if there is a plan to get adoption, I want to know that the team that's building the project is a solid team. Once I've convinced myself that they're a solid team, then I start looking at the money. And I start asking some real tough questions. Are they raising enough money? Are they raising little money? Because you don't want projects that are drowning in cash. What are the tokenomics? Are they going to release too many tokens? And the last question that I ask, and this is just a confirmation question, is who else is investing? Because what you'll find in most of the cases is you'll find that when there are other clever investors in a project, they've usually done the hard work before you. So if you go into a project where, for example, Andreessen Horowitz is investing, or one of the other big VCs, Sequoia, Pantera, Polychain, you kind of know that those guys have done a great due diligence and probably asked the same questions that I've asked. And so the best way to know whether or not the project is a good project is to look at who else has invested in the project, because they've usually done all the hard work before you. Sound good? Alrighty, well then, if it does sound good, then Fred, do you think we should reveal this 100x gem? Fred says it's a 1000x gem. All right, you know what? We'll do it, but only when we need likes, man. We need likes. We've got 2,000 likes, 3,600 people watching. A couple more likes would be great. All right, let me get all the information up about this project, and let me share this project with you. And what we'll do is we'll actually go step by step, and we'll ask all the questions. We'll ask all these questions that we ask when we evaluate the token. And then at the end of it, we will see together whether we think it's a 1000x gem. And if it is, then the next question is, how can you actually get into it? How do you, not me in the media, not these influencers like Coach K and Carl, how do you guys get into these 1000x gems? That's what we actually want to know. All right, sound right? Let's go. So the project that I want to introduce to you is probably the most exciting project I've seen in a long time. In fact, probably since ShopX. And this project is called EPNS. What does EPNS stand for? Simple. Ethereum Push Notification Services. So already the name gives away what this project is all about. What is this project all about? Well, they are solving a very big problem. What's the problem? Guys, have you noticed that the blockchain doesn't have a notification layer? And that when you're dealing with a blockchain, you don't get notifications every time something happens, right? So, like with your Amazon account, you're always getting notifications when something happens, when you're running out of data. With your stockbroker, you get notifications when your trades are about to go through or when your loans are about to be liquidated. Well, that isn't built into the blockchain. And so what EPNS does is it builds a middleware layer between the blockchain and dApps and users and creates a notification service around the blockchain. Okay. Why do we need a notification layer or notification services around the blockchain? Well, because we want alerts. I want to know when my loan is about to get liquidated. I want to know when smart contracts get executed. Imagine you have a smart contract that needs to get executed, and you can't just keep going back to the blockchain and checking. What you need is you want an alert to tell you two things. One, when the smart contract is getting near to being executed, and when it does get executed. What about governance decisions on blockchains? So when a governance decision gets passed in an ecosystem that you are a part of, don't you want to know when this actually happens? I do. What about when there's a security breach or a hack? Guys, isn't it sad to know that if your wallet is hacked, you probably won't know about it until you actually go back to your wallet? Seems counterintuitive. Maybe if you know about it, maybe you could do something to stop it. The biggest thing for me about blockchain is that even when something very simple is happening on the blockchain, like a payment, we don't get a notification from the blockchain itself. And this is where EPNS fills the gap. So what they do is they provide a middleware which provides notifications on blockchain services and specifically on Ethereum. And that's why they called it EPNS. So the first question is, does it solve a real world problem? What do you think? Let's check the comments. So I think it solves a massive problem. Of course it does. All right, let's move on to the second question. Freddie, what is the second question? Freddie's going to call up our chart and we're going to look at what the second question is. The second question is, what is the probability that this thing is actually going to work? And well, the answer is, let's have a look here. In fact, they have already got a testnet up on Ethereum and the testnet is actually working. So let me actually show you a few of the notifications that you can get. I've got a very new system here with lots of screens, so I kind of have to navigate between the screens. But you can see that already you can subscribe to notification services. You can subscribe to gas notification services. So when gas fees are high, when gas fees are low, you can get Ethereum push notifications. You can get notifications about when prices are doing something. You can get notifications about domains and when you're about to lose domains. So what this shows you is that the prototype is already working, and that the way that they're building it is that one day any developer will be able to build any notification on the blockchain and be able to integrate it into their apps. So what do you think? Is there a high probability it'll work? I think so. Fred, what do you think? Fred says just buy, because Fred's a degen, just like all of you guys. All right, let's go to the next question. What is the next question, Freddie? The next question is there an adoption plan? And yes, of course there is an adoption plan. I think this is also one of those cases of if you build it, they will come. You know, they say that when you are first to market with something where there's a massive need, you're going to get a huge advantage. And to me, EPNS, first to market, massive need. So to me, amazing. Next question, Freddie. What do we need to know? Okay. Is there a winning team? So let's go to the website. Guys, a lot of these things are actually on the website, and you can do this analysis yourself. So that is the EPNS website. And we scroll through the website and we see that, you know, these guys are a legitimate team And we see that yesterday they actually made an announcement that they're going to be providing a notification layer for Uniswap, guys. So you want to know if this thing's getting real world adoption? These guys are starting to do notifications for Uniswap or with Uniswap. And if you notice, the tweet actually came from Uniswap. When was the last time you saw Uniswap actually tweeting about a project? And that's a big feather in their cap. So who are the team? The team are super smart. And in this case, all their profiles and their LinkedIn are on the website. And I have personally spoken to this team. And I can tell you that these guys are the smartest guys out there. Next question. How much money are they raising? They're raising a very small amount of money, which makes me feel confident enough that they're not going to do a rug pull or that they're not going to spend the money, but more confident that they're going to work harder because they need to work hard to get adoption of this thing. And then I look at the big question. Who are the other investors in the project? And I said to you guys that the best place to look to see if you're in good hands is to see who the other investors are. And you can see that the people that invested in this are people like Binance Labs, people like Moonwell Capital. Look at the list of investors. You may recognize some of the big names here, like Balaji Srinivasan. He was the CTO of Coinbase after Coinbase bought his company. You've got the guys from Aave. You've got Ajit Tripathi from Aave. You've got Anthony Sassano from ETHUB. So you've got a massive cohort of early investors that are backing this project. So to me, when I look at this project, I say, hold on a second. Does this project tick all of my 6 boxes? So let's quickly just go through it one more time. Freddie, 1, are they building a real world problem? Are they solving a real world problem? And would I use the protocol? I can't wait for this protocol to arrive. What's the probability it'll work? It's working. Is there an adoption plan? There is. And already they're being adopted by people like Uniswap. Is there a winning team? Abso-fucking-lutely. Is there a realistic raise? Amazing. And who are the other investors? So for me, this project ticks every single one of the boxes. Next question is, where do we get it from? And that's what I want to show you guys. Let me open this up for you. Okay. So where do you get these pre-market sales? And I said to you guys, don't think that you can just sit on your couch or on your sofa at home and these pre-market listings are just going to fall on your lap, because that's not going to happen. You need to work for your money. Getting into pre-market listings is a highly competitive and highly lucrative career. And that's exactly what I mean. It's a career. You want to get into pre-market listings, you have to be good at getting into pre-market listings. So how do you get good at getting into pre-market listings? It's hard work. It's what I do all day. It's what Coach K does all day. It's what Carl Chassis does all day. All we do all day long is try and find the best projects. And sometimes we even bring, or most of the times, we even bring those projects to you guys. So let's look specifically at how you can get in, because that's what I said to you. I said to you, this show is actually about how you can get into these pre-market sales. The first thing that you can do is you can look at the website and you can see that the Polka Starter white paper starts in 4 hours and 3 minutes. And that shows that the first way to get into all these pre-market allocations is to actually go to the launch pads. And there are a whole lot of very good launch pads, and they launch a whole lot of very good projects. In fact, let's show some of the launch pads and some of the projects. So you've got Duck, you've got Ignition, you've got Binance Launchpad, you've got Polka Starter, you've got Ferrum Network. These are just some of them. You've got BSCX, which is one that we really like. They've just rebranded. I think they're called Launch Zone. And each one of them has project successes. So you can go to the launch pads and you can learn the system of the launchpad. You can find out what do you need to do to get tokens from the launchpad. Each one of them has different tiers. You need to stake certain tokens to get a different tier. The more tokens you stake, the more chances you've got of actually getting the tokens. And so one way of making sure you get these pre-market allocations is to actually go to these launch pads. Now, I know what you're saying. Yes, but there's a lot of competition and it's very tough. Guys, you need to become a professional. This is not about getting free money. There are high returns here. And because of the fact that there are high returns here, that means that there's a lot of people competing for it. But the rewards are very high, because if you can get 100, 1,000, 2,000, and these things do 100x, you're making 100 times return on your money. So step one, if I were you, I would become an expert in all the launch pads. And then you start getting announcements of what these launch pads are actually launching. And then you can start looking as to how to add value. And that's exactly what I want to talk to you guys about now. There seems to be like a misconception. The misconception is that it's going to come easy and that almost the world or the crypto universe owes you an entry into these pre-market gems. And that it's okay to sit on your sofa at home and to complain that, retail investors can't get into pre-market allocations. Please stop showing us how you and the wealthy few get into pre-market allocations. No, I work hard to get my pre-market allocations. I've built a media channel. I write a blog, I write newsletters, I publish research reports. And that's why projects want me to be part of their cap table, because they know I can add value. Blockchain is about adding value to communities that you like and that you want to be involved in. It's the first time in history that we have a chance to participate in the economies that we like and to actually benefit from it. So just by participating, you can actually build a community and you can actually benefit. So you're probably saying, well, yes, but what can I do? I work, I've got a full-time job, I don't have time to go all into crypto. Guys, if you don't work, you don't deserve to get into the pre-sales. No one's just going to give you good pre-sales that meet the 1000x criteria. You got to add value. So you're asking yourself, well, how can I add value? I have a full-time job. I'm studying. I'm at college. How can I add value to a project? Guys, there are many ways that you can do it. This is a new world and you can build new skills. Let me give you an example. If you hear of a good project that's about to launch, why not join their social media community? Why not ask them if you can become a moderator in their Telegram channel? Isn't that a good idea? They may give you tokens for that. If you hear of a new project launching, maybe help them write articles about the project and publish the articles. And maybe people will start following you and you'll start building a following. And when you start building this following, you know what happens? More people want to follow you. And then you get the network effect because you're writing good articles. Everyone has time to write articles overnight. Why not start a Twitter account? Start small and start building. Start getting hype. Start helping projects. Why not do a ranking sheet of who you think the best IDOs are? Why not come up with your own evaluation methods? Do whatever you want. Add value to communities. Here, I'll throw you guys a bone. We here at Crypto Banter, we are actually looking for analysts. We are looking for people who can help us write research reports on the tokens that we love so that we can circulate the research report to the community. What's the reward? The reward is very simple. We will send your research report with your name out to a community of over 300,000 people. What's going to happen? If your reports are good and they start driving the market, projects are going to start looking to you to write reports for them. Guys, I'll even help you write the report. If you send me a draft, I will help you fix it and make it look good. I will give you guys designers to make sure that the report is beautifully presented. You can add value to the community. And if you add value to communities, then you will start getting access to these pre-market deals. I add value to communities. I advise them on their tokenomics. I started a media channel. I started a show on CNBC. I didn't sit at home and complain that I wasn't getting pre-market allocations. I saw the biggest opportunity of my life and I decided that I'm going to get involved. And I started with a silly little YouTube channel where I used to beg for 1,000 people to watch me. Look where I am today. Why can't you do the same? Tell me. Why can't you join a community and tell them you want to moderate their Telegram or help them edit videos? Or if you're a designer, make some NFTs. Of course you can. But you choose to sit on your sofa at home and complain that Run and Coach K keep getting all the allocations. Guys, join the movement. Get off your sofa, help us add value. We'll help you. Here at Crypto Banter, I personally will help you. Send us reports. I'll help you with the format and we will send them out to the tokens and to our community of 300,000 people with your name on it. And that's just a start. So let's get off the sofa and let's start adding value so we can have some real fun in this crypto bull market and make tons and tons and tons of life-changing cash. You're probably never going to see this again in your lives. And you're at a crossroads now. Either one day you'll sit with your grandchildren and you'll say to them, I sat on the sofa and watched my friends make so much money in the bubble. Or you'll turn around and say, I saw the opportunity, and even though I had a full-time job, I did whatever I could, and I managed to get a few allocations. And those few allocations are what's paying for your college fees for your kids. Mark my words, guys. Get involved. Get off your sofa. Do it now. Write the reports. Get involved. Get hold of the communities. Cool. Let's move on to the next part of the show. Whew. I hope you got that message. So, you know that I'm obsessed with NFTs. And I think one of the biggest use cases for NFTs is gaming. And I came across what I think is one of the most exciting games I actually want to show to you. In fact, let me quickly connect a wallet so that you guys can actually see a real demonstration of this on a real mainnet as opposed to just a testnet. Okay, so I'm going to log in now. The game is called Revv. And as you know, every single boy in the world loves women. Well, not every boy loves women. Some boys love boys and some boys. Well, let's not get into that. But every boy loves cars, right? And so you know that boys are going to love Formula One cars. And Formula One is something that has been around forever. It's super, super exciting. And so what these guys have done, Animoca Labs, they've created a game, a full game, which is NFT driven, which allows users to build and race cars around the most well-known circuits in the world. So I want to show you guys a video of how this thing works. And then I'm going to bring in Yatsu, who's one of the founders of Animoca Labs, and he's going to tell us exactly what this is about. And then we're going to decide whether or not we should be buying this token. Because even though the game is amazing, is the token actually a buy? And that's also something that we need to talk about. So let's have a look at the video. Freddie.
Hey guys, Matt Solomon here with Animoca Brands, bringing you some more gameplay footage from another iconic Formula One circuit. That's right, we are at Monza, the Temple of Speed and the home of the Tifosi. One of the oldest and longest running Grand Prix on the Formula One calendar. So as we come up to the start finish straight now, pressing the up arrow key to accelerate and the space bar to boost. There's going to be a few things you really want to look out for in Monza. Top speed's definitely one of them, and another is braking as you come here heavy on the brakes through turn 1, the red affiliate chicane, and back on the gas as early as possible to get a good run through this flat out section of Curva Grande on the way to another chicane, the Della Roja chicane. So coming up here, important to pick your braking marks, then back on the gas early to get a good exit. Coming up to Lesmo 1, tap on the brakes and back on the gas, carry the mid-corner speed around 220, 230. Again through Lesmo 2, around 210 through there. So spacebar to boost as we head out onto another long straight. And then coming past the old circuit, then on the brakes again for a...
Alrighty, so that looks like a lot of fun. So I'm going to bring in Yatsu, who's one of the founders of Animoca Labs, and they created the Revv game. Yatsu, nice to see you, my friend. Let me unmute you. I think you've muted yourself. There we go.
Yes.
How are you, my friend?
Good. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
It's such a pleasure. So tell us what we were watching on that demo.
Yeah, so you just saw the gameplay of F1 Delta Time. F1 Delta Time is one of the games and motorsports ecosystems inside the Revv ecosystem. So to clarify, Revv is a token that powers multiple motorsports games, not just Formula One, but Formula One was the first one. It's officially licensed, it's official cars, so you get the actual players, the actual racers, official Ferrari, official sort of McLaren cars that you can buy and trade. And the game has multiple components. One, it's got a bit of a collectible component where you can basically collect sort of famous cars and drivers. It's got also a strategy type game, which is the time trial and elite, which is basically more a statistics type game. And then you have the Grand Prix, which is the one you just saw, which was a video of an actual live gameplay of the trials, which is basically qualifying trials. And very soon, we will also have the multiplayer, basically people racing in real time against each other. And the game itself was, I think we had our first sales of the cars actually in 2019. In fact, in 2019, the 111, the very first Formula One car, was the most expensive NFT of 2019. And a little interesting tidbit is the buyer of the Beeple was the same buyer of the F1 Delta Time 111. So that was some related history there.
Okay, so I think I understand the game. Are the cars and are the parts of the cars all NFTs?
Yes, all of them are NFTs.
So if I want to buy, so I know that the one of the tracks you said was bought for a large amount of money. I think, was it Monaco that was bought for 225,000?
Yes, Monaco was bought for at the time 225,000. The value has gone up because Revv has risen, but yes, yeah.
And the owner of the track then earns revenue every time cars race on the track, right?
Correct. So the way it works is that the owners of the track basically receive rewards from the races as well as entry fees. So every time you play a game, you actually have to pay entry fees as well. And so these entry fees then basically get shared across. So the more people race, the more players are in the game, the more the tracks can earn. And each track is split up and they're sort of divided between what we call Apex and Epic and sort of rare type of tracks. And these ones will then have different kind of earning power. And we recently just did a sale of some rare tracks. I think like maybe a month ago or so. We sold about $2 million worth of these tracks. It was gone in 20 minutes. So the demand for this has been pretty stellar.
Okay, now, you know, if I'm a small player and I only have 1 ETH to my name, and then you get these, you know, whales, and you know they can buy extra suspension for their cars and rain tires and better cars. Does that mean that they'll beat me 9 out of 10 times because they have a better car?
No. So we have different tiers in the F1 Delta Time game. And just to be clear, every different unit, every different game in the Revv ecosystem has a different type of game style. So when MotoGP is going to come out and Formula E, which are the two other ones, you'll have different type of gameplay that other people can participate in. But in the case of Formula One Delta Time, we have 4 tiers. And I guess you could say the entry-level tier is called Tier D. And there you can actually participate with a lower cost, right, when you look at the tiers. And you can basically go and participate with, so you can go, if you, for instance, look at time trial, for instance, you'll see 4 different tiers. And in the different tiers, if you scroll down, you'll see different pools, prices for pools. You see Tier A, Tier B, Tier C, Tier D, you'll see. And the Tier D, the races actually have the let's call them sort of a common car category. And there's been many cases where players have actually started at Tier D, won basically prizes, and moved themselves up as time went on, not just to trading, but also to playing. And the rewards are pretty good too, because in F1 Delta Time, you don't just race to win, or you don't just trade parts. You can also stake your cars. And in fact, the staking pools for the last payout was close to $800,000 worth. And we're currently basically continuing to stake that. Have another staking pool happening. So which is, you know, sort of these concepts of DeFi and NFTs really coming together.
So I noticed also that if you have a car, you can stake your car. Does that mean that if I stake my car, I'm actually lending my car to somebody else who wants to race it on a track?
Correct. So the concept here is that it is a kind of rental approach. Now, the actual renting out at the moment isn't happening yet, but that's the concept. So you basically put it in and you can rent them. Now, but what's interesting here is that as you play, there's a little bit of game theory that happens here, because you have a prize pool where you can passively have the income in terms of staking your car, or you can use that car to race. But you got to choose which one you want to take. Right?
Oh, so you can either be an owner or a driver kind of thing. You know, you can't.
Yeah, you have to choose one of the two. Now, what that means is that, let's say I have the best car or in the best parts and I'm doing really well. I could race. On the other hand, my staking rewards are pretty juicy as well. So I might want to stake that instead. And that's what's actually happened. So we have a category of cars called Apex. They give the best rewards. And they have slightly better power, not necessarily much better than the other legendaries. But when staking doesn't happen, then they all race. And often you could say, well, the best car tends to win. But in a staking thing, then people go, they actually, all of them get staked because the rewards in staking are good. And then the playing field completely levels out in a different way. And so it's a nice way to sort of rebalance the gameplay.
Okay, now, what if I have an accident? What if I take a staked car and I have an accident. Does the NFT destroy itself, or?
No. So we don't. The NFTs are permanent and they can't be damaged in that sense. But there is an element where you have to keep paying Revv for consumption, in the sense that you can't, if you want to keep racing, you have to basically pay with Revv, and that's basically one of the big income streams in the Revv ecosystem.
So I'm assuming that the Revv token is actually the transaction token in the entire ecosystem, and that anything that you do in the ecosystem needs to happen on Revv. I guess the big question for me is the Revv token limited to motor car games? Because I can almost guarantee that Animoca Labs is working on non-motor car related games, right?
Correct. So the way that we think of token ecosystems is one of community, right? So meaning that if there's a commonality in the community, then we'll connect to the player base. And that's where the Revv token, in this case, relates to motorsports. Now, motorsports doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a car, right? It can be, it could be, maybe in the future, it could be related to yachts, or it could be related to other things like this. But yes, broadly speaking, it's one where we think the communities have commonality and therefore should be connected. So if we're gonna, if we're making other games, for instance, like we have another token called Tower, that's a tower defense game. That is a completely different kind of game, has absolutely very little relationship to people enjoying Formula One or MotoGP or those type of racing sports. So we didn't sort of force it in because it feels a little awkward. Also, the community itself would be disconnected.
Okay, now I see that the circulating supply is around 221 million tokens, and there's 3 billion tokens in circulation. Is there how do you mine tokens? How are more tokens released into the ecosystem? And is there ever like a buyback or a burn? So do we ever reduce the number of tokens in circulation?
Yeah, so the way that the tokens get reduced from circulation is through spending for in-game items. So for instance, everything that is sold from Animoca brands for F1 Delta Time is all done in a Revv token. So you cannot actually buy anything without Revv. So that's essentially how the token is consumed on one hand. It's
but
also
then are the tokens that we then pay with to Animoca brands, are they then burnt or taken out of the ecosystem?
So they're taken out of the ecosystem because they're used perhaps for liquidity pools or other areas like this. However, they're not burned. And this is an important factor because actually burning tokens makes it closer to security.
Okay.
And so for us, it's a little different because we're not an anonymous project, right? Everyone knows who we are. We're a game company that's actually a public game company that's been around for quite some time. And so we have, everything has to be reviewed by lawyers. Everything has to be analyzed. Everything needs legal opinions. So burning tokens is unfortunately something we can't do. And in general, we don't advise others to do.
How do we get, so there's only 200 million of the 3 billion total supply. How do they get mined? How do new tokens get issued?
So they come from staking. So there's a separate staking. So if you stake the cards, that's one way to get it for the players. And then the other way to get it is through these prize awards. So when you raise one, right, you win those. And again, actually, the rewards are pretty good. But what happens is because all of our entire economy is pegged against Revv, meaning the cars, the parts, the keys, and everything, actually the value of the cars go up as well. So basically, maybe you're earning a lot in Revv, but you have to spend a lot in Revv as well in order to continue playing. Where the sort of demand for the token will increase, it comes multifold. One of them is new games or ecosystems using the Revv token. That's one. And the second one, of course, is new players. So the more players come into the game, there'll be more demand for the token. Now, the driving economy for the Revv ecosystem for F1 Delta Time is the number of cars and parts that are out there, right? Because we only, and tracks. Yeah, so we sell them basically on an addition basis only, which means that there's a fixed supply on them. And it's driven sort of by the season. So in 2019, there's a set of cars, that's all. And you can only race them in 2019 seasons, same for 2020. The tracks, however, are essentially the same. And you buy one set of tracks, and that's it, for every season. And that is completely sort of fixed supply. So the value of these non-fungible tokens has increased quite substantially because they can be used in 2019 and 2020 and sort of future seasons as well.
Okay, we do have about 30 seconds left, but I want to ask you one more question. If I want to develop a game and I want the game to be powered by Revv tokens, can I do that?
Yes, actually, we've started doing something like this. We recently did a partnership with Crypto Motors, which is not related to Revv originally, and they were selling cars with the Revv system. And there are some plans around how to integrate other people who want to basically tap into the community to do essentially use the Revv ecosystem. So we think of Revv ecosystem as an ecosystem of players who love racing and motorsports. And in the future, we want everyone to come in and basically sort of participate, not just by playing our games, but playing other games as well.
Yatsu, thank you so much, my friend. I'm a big car fan, and I think what I'm going to do after this is I'm going to build a car. And next time we're on the show, I'm going to challenge you to a duel around one of the snazzy tracks.
I look forward to that.
Alrighty, my friend. Thank you so much. Cool. Now I'm going to bring back somebody that you guys love. Someone that I love, someone that we see on Thursdays, and we see him on Fridays. And every time we see him, it's a treat. It's a treat. And that is, of course, our friend, Coach K, and he's here with his prestigious picks. Coach, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you? It's Thursday.
Coach, what do you think of my add value in order to get your tokens and not just sit back on the sofa and then think and complain that you're not getting into these pre-market allocations?
Yeah, I mean, I have something really good to say before I tell you about my pick, and it's basically that last bull run, I was watching Ian Bellina and CMT and all those guys, and I was trying my best. I was working my butt off to get into some of them, and I got in some. But you have to work hard. It's not easy. And I was just like all of you guys. Someone who was newer, didn't have the connections, didn't have the brand, and I worked my way to where I'm at now. So, I mean, everyone can do it. There's the only limitation in life is the ones that you put on yourself. So if you want something, go get it. Don't wait for me or anyone else to do it for you. Go and push and try to add value to the ecosystem. Simple as that. And yes, it's hard. And yes, it's not easy. And yes, maybe you'll only get one or two. But next cycle, because of what you do now, you'll be at the front line just with us. So it's up to you. It takes time, it's effort, but it's worth it. So put the time in, you get where you want to be.
Let's talk about your prestigious pick. And guys, I mean, here's an example. If you guys become good analysts, there's no reason why we won't put you guys on the show with your prestigious picks. And then you guys can build a profile. We're here to help you guys, our community. We've shown that. We're giving away, I mean, the Banter bags today are worth $140,000 as it stands today. And there's going to be way more. I mean, that's only 2 of our allocations. I mean, I think 2 million may even be conservative if this market carries on running. Because one of the ones that we're actually getting is the one that you're talking about today.
Oh, yeah? Oh, I didn't know that you heard. Oh, yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you want to share your screen and let's talk about the project that you are looking at today? Yes, sir.
Well, you know it. So maybe I'll interview you maybe or something like that today. Try something a little different.
Today's a bad day to interview me. And if you watched my Twitter, I gave you guys the biggest pro tip of your life. And I said, don't try and send money from a crypto wallet to a crypto wallet after drinking 4 tequilas and smoking a joint.
That's probably not a good idea.
You should never do that. Pro tip.
I mean, it depends on the person, right? Some people can function very highly.
Trust me, don't do it. I did it. Maybe I did it. Possibly. It could have happened. Not sure.
Oh, you lost the transaction?
Well, the money never arrived where it was supposed to arrive, and it probably arrived somewhere where it wasn't supposed to arrive. And I have I actually have no recollection of it, but it must have happened.
Well, the prestigious pick this week, if you guys have followed a project called Frax, I've been trying to look for something on Polkadot that was similar to what Frax is kind of doing. And there's a lot of algorithmic stable coins, the impulse and stuff. We all know those didn't really work. So we have seen Frax work, and we have seen, it do really, really well. So I was looking for something like that. You kind of mentioned it last week, Standard, and I was like, I heard of that name. Where did I hear it? Went back, looked into it. Started messaging all the people that I'm friends with, and tried to find the team. Started talking to the team.
There we go. You hear about a project, you do whatever it takes to find the team.
Yeah, go on their Telegram. First step I do is ask my friends, because obviously your friends are your biggest supporters, right? Then you go and you message the Telegram. Then you try to find someone who's friends with a mod or any. You just literally don't. You have to be relentless. Just grind until you get what you want. And if the answer is no, at least you'll learn the process to do it next time. So everything's a learning experience. So what is this? Basically, if you understand what Frax is, it's an algorithmic stablecoin. They have 3 actual coins in their circuit in their system. One is a governance token, one is an LP token, and one is the basic their $1 to $1 stablecoin. And obviously how these systems work, and Rand, you can add anything I'm missing, but how these systems work is that the collateralized assets will basically back the dollar. So instead of having like Tether, which everyone always scrutinizes because there's no actual US dollar to back every dollar, this is backing it with something that is actually tactile and real. That could be also a stock or other types of assets. So it's really interesting how they're doing that. And we've seen this in other, I've seen this in other projects like Frax. And we've seen this in MakerDAO. They're also similar to Maker in some ways too. So it's an eco.
These guys are building on Polkadot.
Yes. And they have a Web3 grant. I know people have been scrutinizing that because there's so many people that have them. But they are slated to be going for their parachain in Q3. So obviously it's the auction. There's a lot more to it than that, but they are slated to go and get their parachain. And these are the things that you look for in a project that's Polkadot based. You ask the project teams, do you have a Web3 grant? It doesn't always matter if they do or they don't, but if you ask a project that's in Polkadot, are you going to get a parachain? And they say, we're not sure, probably a red flag for me personally. So stuff, little pieces of alpha you can.
Have you been following Polka Foundry?
Polka Foundry? No, I haven't. That's one of the ones that like I didn't get into. I couldn't get into. Even me, I can't get into stuff too, guys. So it happens to all of us. So because I didn't get in, I didn't really look deeper.
Let's look at it for a second. Polka Foundry actually announced this morning that they were getting a test net on the Rapoko network.
Yeah.
And that's one step towards getting a parachain on the Kusama network and then later on the Polkadot network. And you can see that that's taken the price up 51%. So this is one that we're going to start watching. In fact, next week, I'm going to do a full token review on Polka Foundry for you guys so that you guys can see it. It's a full suite DeFi set or a full set of DeFi services for the Polkadot ecosystem. And I think it's going to be huge. So we'll talk about that one next week. Let's go back to your screen because we've got a few more minutes. So look at, again, I said earlier in the show today, you want to see who else is in these raises because you know that the other guys may have done the due diligence for you. And you can see that, in this case, you've got a whole lot of very reputable funds that are in it. I mean, A1's there, A195 Capital's in there. Those are the names that you should.
Master Ventures.
100%. All right, let's carry on. So anything else that you want to talk about on this project in terms of raise? When are they launching?
Team looks okay. Has a decent amount of background in the space. Nothing crazy. They're not like insane, but you don't need an insane team to be able to achieve this. See some familiar faces over here with the advisors who are attached to a lot of good projects. Look,
I can tell you that projects with Charlie and Mark, Charlie and Mark are very well known in the ecosystem. These guys are solid.
Yeah, they got a good foundation. They got, the Web3 grant. They had no problem raising at all. I honestly think that this is one of those ones that because it's an algorithmic stablecoin, you need to spend some time to do your own research. So definitely take some time to understand the MakerDAO model, the Frax model, the RSR model. These are all similar types of projects, but they're all going to do really well in my opinion. So, look at those 3 projects. If you missed out RSR, this could be the RSR and Polkadot. So, keep your eyes open for these things because that's what you do. Look, if you missed Polkastarter and you got into any of the other projects that did a raise, Kick, or BSC or any of them, they all did really well. So when you see something that's a trend, the trend's your friend, just like when you're trading on a chart. Go with the trend.
My friend, I will see you tomorrow because Friday is when
Banter, baby. See you tomorrow.
See you, my friend. See you tomorrow. That's Coach K. Guys, I will get the Standard Protocol guys on the show because we do like that project. We are big support of the project. Fred says we've hit 100,000 subscribers. So first of all, thank you for giving us 100,000 subscribers. We love you guys. You guys are our community. Guys, beware of the scammers in the YouTube. That's what they look like. We will never ask you to WhatsApp us. That's a scam message. We will never ask you to WhatsApp us. Guys, I want to try and keep this under 1 hour, so I'll see you again tomorrow for the Banter. Friday Banter, same time, same place, 10 a.m. EST. Until then, if you are trading, trade well, my friends. Kaylee, my friend, nice to see you in the waiting room. I will see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. EST. Guys, much love. Thank you for the 100,000 subscribers. Thank you for all the love that you guys give me in the comments and on Twitter. I'll see you again tomorrow. If you're trading, trade well, my friends.
Crypto Banter is a social podcast for entertainment purposes only. All opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers should not be construed as financial advice. Views expressed by guests and hosts do not reflect the views of the station. Listeners are encouraged to do their own research.